Claude Opus 5 is here, and on paper, it is the best Opus model Anthropic has ever released, sometimes even better than Fable 5. But if you prompt it the same way you've been prompting previous Claude models, you are not going to get good results with it. Anthropic agrees with this, so they published an entire prompting guide for Opus 5. It is dense, but I read through this entire thing so you don't have to, and I pulled out 5 rules that change how I'm going to use Opus 5 for knowledge work. And some of the rules are the exact opposite of the advice we've been following for years. Let me break down for you what makes Opus 5 so unique, when you should be using it, and with what effort level, and then we'll go through those 5 prompting rules for Opus 5. This all starts with choosing the right model and effort level, which is more confusing than ever since we now have 4 models from Anthropic. The weakest model is Haiku, and the most powerful model is Fable 5, although on many benchmarks, Opus 5 actually beats Fable 5. Regardless, Fable 5 is the most expensive, so the right model really depends on your use case and which plan you have. For myself, I never use Haiku. You could maybe use it for general questions if you're just using Claude for chat, but for any work, I really wouldn't use Haiku at all. Next, if you're using Claude for knowledge work and you're on the $20 Claude plan, you should use Sonnet as your default model and then switch to Opus 5 for your more complex tasks or when Sonnet isn't giving you the results that you're happy with. But if you're on the max $100 plan or higher and you're using Claude for knowledge work, you can often get away with using Opus as your default model. In the past, I would have suggested that you switch to Fable for more complex work, but I suggest that even less now with the new Opus 5. It's just that good. The only time I would switch to Fable 5 is when you're unhappy with the results that you're getting with Opus 5 and want to compare it against the results that you get with Fable. But less and less, I don't think it's necessary to use Fable, and you can stick with Opus 5 for most of your tasks. You can make it more complicated by switching between Sonnet, Opus, and Fable depending on the task. That would be more optimized, but I like to keep it simple. So now I just leave it on Opus 5 almost all the time. Okay, so let's assume you're going to use Opus 5. The next decision is what effort level are you going to use? And this is where I think a lot of people are going to make a mistake. They just assume that higher effort levels mean that it's going to produce better results. But that is not the way that Anthropic describes it. The effort setting mainly controls how much thinking Claude does, which affects the time and tokens it spends on the task. While that can produce better answers, sometimes, a lot of the time, it's just overkill. Anthropic has said that low and medium effort levels are surprisingly strong on Opus 5. For a lot of normal knowledge work, I would start there. Use low if you have the pro plan and use medium as a default if you are on one of the max plans. Again, you can make it more complicated, but I prefer having a simple default that I use every time, which for me now is Opus 5 on medium. Once you decide to use Opus 5 and you pick the effort level, there are 5 rules I would follow when writing the prompt. Okay, so as I run through these 5 prompting rules, we are going to build a prompt together. So let's assume we have a company called Northline Coffee, and we want help with building a website for this brand. So as we kind of go through the prompting suggestions, we will build on this prompt. But as a little bit of background, this is a small coffee brand selling beans online. We have some logos and colors and product images already that we are going to give Opus, and then we want the website to actually sell more coffee for us. So the first rule is that Opus 5 works best when you give it the full job at the start. A lot of these older models, if you had a task for it, you would often break it down into smaller steps. You might say, first, look at these files and pull from it the branding for my company. Then I want you to put together a brand guide. And then after that, I want you to put together a plan for what the website will look like. And you can still do that, but Opus 5 is better at taking a full job and working through it on its own. So we're not going to start with something like look at these images and create a brand guide for us. We're going to start with everything. So I will tell it, build a one-page website for Northline Coffee, a small brand that sells coffee beans online. The goal is to help people understand the brand, choose a coffee, and place their first order. Use a logo, colors, product details, and photos in the brand asset folder. Build the finished website in the project folder. And already that is so much better because it gives the whole job up front, where we are starting and where we need to end up. The second rule fixes a common issue with Opus 5. It loves to do more work than you ask it to do. That can be helpful sometimes, but often it results in Claude going overboard and doing more than you really need or want it to do. So tell it when the job ends and add some clear limits. For our prompt, we will add this. Build only the home page. Link the buy buttons to the shop page that already exists. Keep the current logo, colors, and product name. Make small design choices yourself. Only ask me a question if the answer would change the whole website. So now Claude has room to work, but it also knows what not to do. The third rule also fixes an issue with Opus 5, which is it loves to give you long answers when it finishes. Too long. Oftentimes it's so long I don't even bother reading it. If that bothers you as much as it bothers me, tell it to give you a shorter answer. For this job, I don't need a long story about everything Claude did when it created the website for us. I only need to know that the website is ready and where to find it. So we will add this. When you finish, tell me where the website is and give me no more than 3 short bullets explaining what you made. Then tell me only what's truly important to know about how the website works. That will keep the response at a readable length and only give me the information I actually need. Similarly, you also want to limit the size of the work product, which is different from the text response. So if we left the prompt as is, we might get a short response from Claude, but the website could be too large. So we also need to set the size of the thing it's making. For a website, we will add this. Keep the website to 6 parts. The top section, 3 featured coffees, why Northline is different, customer reviews, common questions, and 1 final buy button. Keep the writing short. The main headline should be 8 words or less. Each part should be easy to scan and should have no more than 70 words. Now, you don't have to be this precise. You could say something like, I only want the website to have 6 parts, and that's it, and leave it up to Opus 5's discretion as to what those parts are. Or you can say something like, I want someone to be able to read my entire website in under a minute and a half. So make sure it's no longer than necessary to convey the points that we want to make. The point is you want to give it some guidance on the size of the project that you want it to create. That will get you closer to the results you want faster. This next prompting tip isn't about what you should tell Opus 5, it's what you shouldn't tell it. For a while now, we've been telling AI to check the work that it's done. After it's done, check every file twice, find every possible mistake, and fix all of them. And usually that would get you better results. However, Anthropic says that Opus 5 already checks and fixes its work as it goes along. If we force it to do the whole check again, it may take more time and use more tokens without actually making the end result any better. So we will not be adding that, and I suggest you don't add that to your prompts now when you use Opus 5. We will still tell Claude what good looks like, we just don't have to have it repeat the same check over and over again. So here's the full prompt now. It builds on all 5 of the rules that we just went over together and gives Opus 5 the freedom to be creative, but within a set of boundaries that make sense for the project. We gave it enough without giving it too much. And you can use these prompt rules anywhere you access Opus 5. So whether that's chat on the web or co-work on the web or from your phone or the Claude desktop app or even inside of Claude Design. That's what I'm going to use for this design. So I'll paste that prompt into the prompt box, and on the model selector, make sure I have Opus 5 selected and the effort level I will leave on medium. Now I need to attach the brand assets here. These are all the images of the coffee and the logos as well. So let me do that. And now I can send that along. Usually Claude has some questions for me when I use Claude Design about what this should look like. But sometimes if I give it enough information like I've done here, it may not ask me those follow-up questions. Let's see what it does this time. I guess it's just getting to work now. and we can kind of see it building it from the top down here. Okay, so it's now done now. That took a little less than 3 minutes, which is quite fast for Claude Design. Usually when I have it create websites for me, it takes a lot longer. But I think because we were so precise with our prompt and we gave it exactly what we're looking for, it was able to produce something much faster because it knew what we were going for right from the start. I mean, like we were saying, tell it what you want, give it the entire project. And I think that's also why it didn't ask me any follow-up questions, because it already knew it was all in the prompt. And otherwise, it looks really nice. Like, it gave it enough freedom to have some creativity, to make it look nice. It brought in the images that I uploaded. So overall, I'm really happy with this. This is exactly what we were looking for, and it was done quite quickly. But let's count this up. We have section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which matches exactly what we asked for. And each of these sections lines up, right? We have our hero section here. We have the products here. We have a little bit of information about Northline, some reviews, some common questions, and then a call to action down here. And then coming over to the chat, what did we ask for? We asked for 3 bullet points that explain what was done. And that's all we got, 3 bullet points. So really nice that it actually followed those directions instead of just giving us this big wall of text that we would never read. Now we can actually read it, and we're not gonna, dismiss it because it's so long. So that's how to prompt Opus 5 the right way. Once you choose Opus 5, start with an effort level that matches the task and the plan that you're on, then follow the 5 rules that I gave you. In other words, let Opus 5 use its intelligence without letting it overuse its intelligence. But the model is only half the story. You also have to know how to use the tools, whether that's Claude Chat, Claude Cowork, or Claude Design. So if you want a full breakdown on how to use the new Claude, including how to use Cowork on the web and on your computer, check out this video right here. I made this very recently, so it has all the newest Claude updates. So if you want the newest, most up-to-date video on how to use Claude, definitely click on this video right here, and I'll see you over there in 1 second. Bye for now.